Hey everyone. Hi, this is Russell Rucker. I'm here for another constitutional talk. You know, we've been going through the amendments and we've gone through all of them, but that are part of the Bill of Rights, except the 10th Amendment, and that's what we're going to discuss today. Um, I'd like you to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of the important discussions that we're talking about, and like our videos. Now, the 10th Amendment is interesting. And the 10th Amendment, the language starts with the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So let's try to break this down a little bit because it's a lot to take in all at once when you're discussing the language. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution. So when you look at the Constitution, any power that is not given to the federal government, that's what we're talking about. Okay, nor prohibited by it to the states. So they are not prohibited, so the federal government is not prohibited either by the states. So all those things, in other words, just about anything that's not mentioned, is neither given to the federal government or reserved to the states. So anything that's not mentioned in the Constitution is reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. See, our Constitution is a document that limits government, and especially our federal government, certain things, because everything should not be the right of our federal government, or as our founders referred to it, as the general government. Certain things are reserved to the states, certain rights are reserved to the states, certain rights are reserved to the people. There are curbs put in to the Constitution on power. And that's what we're talking about here. So we're giving everything that's not discussed to the states and to the people. So what is not the federal government's business, it goes to the people. For instance, like traffic laws, they aren't federal. They go to the people. All kinds of things that are not included. And minor instances aren't included. Everything's not a federal offense. If you steal a loaf of bread, it's not a federal offense. It's still a crime. It's still a theft. But it doesn't fall under the jurisdiction of the federal government. It belongs under the jurisdiction of your state. And the state does have a lot of powers, and even all the way down to your sheriffs and your police have powers. Everything doesn't go to the federal government. And that's what they're talking about here. So if you have instances where things are not mentioned, because frankly they weren't even thought of at the time, nor was it passed in amendment. So if it's not in either one of those situations, then it's reserved to the states and the people to decide what should happen. And that includes so many things, like education, for instance. It was never meant to be a federal issue. There were discussions about setting up a national college at some levels, but that's not what the Constitution does. And there's just so many things that are really of local interest and local concern. You have school boards for a reason. You have village boards and town boards. You have city councils and all these other organs of government. Just because it's not mentioned in the Constitution doesn't mean there can't be laws restricting it or supporting it. But it does mean that it no longer belongs to the federal or the general government, as they so aptly put it. There are lots of groups that want to point to the 10th Amendment as a grand curb or discussing all kinds of different things. But that's not always the case either. When we have political organizations trying to bend the rules one way or another, we really have to look towards the language of the Constitution. I like to take the 9th and 10th together, because in the 9th it says things not specifically listed here. It does not necessarily mean that that there aren't other rights that aren't within the document. And we talked about that recently in the 9th Amendment. So you have the 9th telling you that just because it's not here doesn't mean you don't have a right. And the 10th tells you that there are restrictions to the federal government's power. And those restrictions, those things that aren't discussed, belong to the states and to the people. If they did not, and if everything went to the federal government, there would be no reason for a town board, a city council, a state government, because everything would roll from the federal government to the states. It would be a top down kind of government instead of a bottom up. And for the most part, we have a bottom up kind of system. We have a federal government that's given powers primarily for defense and taxation to run the government and things for the common good. However, that doesn't include everything. I hope you think about that for a few minutes. And next time somebody's telling you something's unconstitutional, you should look and see, is it mentioned? Is it here within the document? Or does it belong to your state government? And with that, I hope you have a good day. We'll catch you next time on the next Constitutional Talk. Liberty is here for a reason, my friends. Thank you. Have a good day.